Okay, so we are live. Okay, so bear with us. This is the first time we were doing this, and Restream will not stream into the Family Readiness group and page because it's not been up for 30 days. That's 60 days. That's a Facebook rule. So as we introduce ourselves, we're going to start sharing it. So, Kate, you want to start first?
Sure. Um, Hello, everybody. My name is Kate Clayson, and I am currently a pet professional. I do grooming. And prior to that, I was a first responder for about 20 years. I started my career as a 911 dispatcher and went into patrol and did the patrol side. I also taught at the police academy, and I grew up in a first responder household. I grew up with a bunch of firefighters. So I've seen many different aspects of the first responder world. And I grew up in a first responder household. I grew up with a bunch of firefighters. So I've seen many different aspects and of the first responder world. In a first responder. There's a lot of feedback.
No, that's removing things over from different pages.
Gotcha. All of a sudden, I'm hearing myself. I'm like, whoa. I thought Halloween was over.
Facebook. So we can see questions here. So if anyone has questions about the topic that we're talking about, pop them in and we'll get to them. So I'm Mario Quendo, and this is my soapbox. Okay, actually, this is one of my soapboxes. My many soapboxes. They're like all lined up over here, by the way. And this is the emergency disaster planning soapbox. Okay. I think this is really important because you never know when something might happen and you have to leave and you have to leave quickly. You don't always have the time to do it. And sometimes we get warning that something is coming, but you know what? Most of the time we don't. And the better prepared we are, the better the outcome will be for us personally. Not necessarily that you'll escape no harm,
Right.
but it'll be better for all around if you could be if you're better prepared, better for you, better for your animals.
Yes.
So this is a rebrand of Women Petpreneurs. So the Women Petpreneurs podcast is morphing into Family Readiness. So this is the first episode of that. Welcome.
We're going to have fun.
All right. So there were like two things we really wanted to talk about today. Okay. And the first one is that we saw it on Facebook earlier today. Well, not today, maybe a couple of days ago. Yeah. Somebody had their phone charging on their toolbox and then unplugged it when it was charged and then went off to make a phone call. Meanwhile, the end of the charger cord hit the metal tines of a Chris Christensen coral brush, aka a very expensive brush. Yeah. And when the tines hit the end of the charging cord, it created an arc and therefore then a fire. How often does that happen?
Probably more often than people think. Because I think most don't realize that there's still electricity that's flowing through there, even though if it's plugged into the wall, there's going to be some sort of charge that's flowing through there, whether your phone's plugged into it or not. So usually when I charge my stuff, I unplug everything.
And I read that and I'm looking around my house and all of the things, all of my chargers that are plugged in.
Well, just hanging there waiting for something to get connected to it?
Yes.
There you go.
So We're going to be unplugging all of those things going forward.
Yeah. So growing up with a firefighter, my dad, I mean, even still to this day, there's just certain habits that formed just because of of his background. But that's one of the things that ever since I was a kid, we always did. I'm very I hate leaving the house having things plugged in. So even like lamps and stuff like that, I just don't like having that stuff plugged in. Now, I don't sit here and unplug everything in my household. I still have stuff that's plugged in, but if I can, I completely unplug it.
Yeah, I mean, my air fryer is always unplugged. If my air fryer is not in use, and I did that after reading an article about how a house burnt down because of the air fryer.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the thing. A lot of house fires actually, I don't know what the percentage is. I would have to look into that. But a lot of house fires are caused by electrical issues.
Okay. So now, once this is over, I got two chargers for two different computers plugged in right here in my office.
Well, and the thing is, Mary, have you ever like one of the things I noticed too, depending on the outlet, but sometimes I'll plug the charger in and when I go to plug it out, the base of it is hot.
You know, I've not noticed that, but sometimes I've noticed my phone is hot.
Mhm.
Now I've got a new phone, but that was one of my older phones. So I just upgraded my phone from a 12 to a 16, the iPhone. And there were times with the older phone, and someone told me that the iPhone 12 is like banned in France. Is that true?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I'm an Android person.
Oh,
Mm,
oh,
I know I just got shunned.
and and here's the thing: we can live Google. So iPhone 12 banned in France. Let's see if that is actually true or not. Okay, France bans um, iPhone 12 sales over high radiation emission levels, so you can't buy it. Okay. It was temporarily banned in France in September of 2023 due to concerns about radiation levels.
Oh, that's pretty concerning.
Yeah, a little bit, but whatever. So here we are. I no longer have the 12. Um, but so moving along,
Yes.
unplug your chargers. Okay.
Plug chargers.
There's a lot of things now. If I'm going on vacation, I unplug a lot of stuff. Not everything in my house. Like I'm not unplugging my refrigerator or
Right.
or
Right.
or my
And that's
security system or my any of things of that nature.
mhm.
I also don't unplug the lamps either, but I will unplug other appliances. So the
Mhm.
microwave, the coffee maker, um, anything that the chargers will actually be unplugged while I'm gone because I'm either taking them with me or I'm not using them. So then we unplug them.
Right. Yeah, I typically will do that too. Like I said, I don't unplug everything. I got to keep the fridge plugged in. I'm not going to unplug my washer and dryer. That type of stuff always stays plugged in. But the little stuff like phone chargers, like you said, the coffee maker, I have a convention oven, like that type of stuff that always gets unplugged.
Okay. So the other thing we wanted to talk about is you can be prepared. In fact, I'm going through my to go. I have a shelf just before my garage in the utility room. And I have a shelf, and all of that is my to go stuff. Like it has important papers, it's got dog food, it's got water, it's got emergency supplies, it's got a change of clothing. And all of that would simply move from there into the car as we leave. Right? But that stuff has to be rotated. So
Mhm.
that was the project that I did over this past week. I went through all of those to go things. And you know what I didn't check? I didn't check the bag with the batteries. I better go check those.
Make yourself a note.
make myself a note, check the batteries. The batteries are never stored in something, by the way. They're stored loose, but that doesn't mean that it can't be problematic. So that'll be on my list to check my batteries. But anyway, all right. So I can get out of my house pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but the question really is, I can get out of my house quickly. Can I get out of town quickly?
Not always.
All right. And that lesson was really driven home because, and this has to do with fun in the sun. I had planned a vacation around fun in the sun, but then, Hurricane Milton decided to put some kibosh on my vacation plans. All right. So I was coming in a couple of days ahead of time. Me and my husband, we were going to hit the amusement parks and then go up to see my daughter in Georgia and, hang out the trade show and then leave. Okay. So, but Hurricane Milton decided it was going to come in and just do what it was going to do. So, we watched it. And when it became obvious that to even Barkley that we're canceling the show, crap. Okay. So I called Delta, and Delta was like, well, right now, there is no damage to the airport, and you're coming in before the hurricane. So, no, we're not going to reschedule you, or we could, but it'll be about $1,000 a person. Yeah, I know, right? To go, instead of landing in Orlando, land into Atlanta, which is their hub, but whatever. We're like, okay, so we decided we would just fly in on the Monday like planned. It was a little bit of a later flight, so we'll just spend the night and leave in the morning. That was the plan. Okay. Still 2 days before the hurricane is supposed to hit. Okay. But along with other smart people who decided they weren't waiting until the last minute, they were leaving Florida Tuesday morning, same as I.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people leaving Orlando Tuesday morning. Okay. We're not familiar with the area. Okay. So I had to get on the highway with thousands of other people to get to Georgia, to Atlanta, where my daughter was. Okay. Couldn't take any side streets to bypass some of the traffic because I am not familiar with the area.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look in your own area, all right, so where I live here in Sequim, there's only basically into the peninsula end here. There's one road in, one road out. That's it. Okay. And it's not even like a 4-lane road. It's a 2-lane roads 101. And if 101 goes down, there's nothing coming in and nothing coming out. I mean, there are ways to get around that heading, more inland, but do I know which routes they are? Do I know how to bypass 101 and get someplace else?
Yeah. And that's always important. And that's one of the things that I had put on my 10 top things on my emergency preparedness list because as a responder, there's been plenty of times when weather hits and sometimes it hits too fast. There's literally times that we just could not get to people to help them. And even though they were calling for help, we just couldn't physically get to them at that moment in time to be able to help them. And so that's where between having that experience and seeing other experiences as well, I've always said, if you nowadays we're so dependent on technology, but if you can get a paper map, get that map, know different routes. And I'm always, if everybody's heading that way, then I'm looking at any other direction I can head to go into a different direction and do it safely just because of that type of situation. If you know other alternative routes, plan that ahead of time as far as putting that into your emergency preparedness plan. If this route is blocked off, then what other way can I go? And it's unfortunate because of the fact that we have come so reliant on GPS. I can't tell you the amount of times that I would be out directing traffic and we would have to close the road down for a traffic accident, and people would come up and they were just like stumped. They didn't know what to do because that's the only way that they knew how to go. And so now they're freaking out because they don't know how they're going to get home.
All right, so let's talk paper maps. What? Paper maps?
I know.
What are those, Kate?
I know.
You're talking the entire, there's probably more than one generation right now that has never even seen a paper map, except maybe in a museum.
I know. So I also have seen on, well, again, I'm an Android person. So Google Maps, they have an option on there to be able to use Google Maps without having to have any type of signal. And so maybe that's where if you don't have a paper map or you don't get to the museum, you can actually sit down with your Google Maps and just kind of plan out maybe what your routes are, and then save those or screenshot those, print them out so you have a printed copy of that. But there's other ways to be able to do it if you can't get to a paper map.
Your local chamber of commerce
Mm-hmm.
might have local maps. You might have to buy them, right?
Yeah.
So my local Squim map cost me, I don't know, a couple of bucks. If you have AAA, they might still have paper maps that you may have to either go into the office. I'm not sure. The last time I tried to order paper maps from AAA, they're like, you have to come down to the office to get them because we don't stock a lot of them anymore. And I'm like, well, then why am I going to drive down if you don't have the map I want?
Well, wait, since this is live and we can do a live check, I'm going to see if like even Amazon has paper maps. Let's see, because Amazon has everything.
Yeah, it does. Your local state Department of Traffic DOT office should have maps.
Yes, Rand McNally still has map books.
Ooh, okay.
And it's not that expensive. It's like, well, this one, depending on where you're going for, but 2025 large scale Rand McNally Road Atlas, $26.99.
Well, that's not bad.
No.
And understand, just to go back in the Wayback Machine, okay? So when I went mobile in 2002, there were no apps on our phone, okay? It was get the map, the big old Rand McNally map, which, by the way, changes every year because roads change all the time.
Yeah.
So if you have a Rand McNally from 2005, it's probably not very accurate anymore at this stage.
Right.
So that's something you should have that's fairly current. But again, I'm also betting that the Department of Traffic website might have maps. Well, let's do a search. Washington.
Well, and the other thing too, most places, most roadways are set up on a grid system. So that's one of those things it would take some learning to do, but find out where the 0-100 is within your town, and then you can kind of map out the town and the roadways from
Unless you live in Boston, okay? That grid system, whoever set up the roads in Boston looked at how can we make this as inconvenient as possible.
See, I haven't been to Boston, so
no. So anyone who's listening to this is going, yeah, not Boston. But yeah, or maybe local city halls too. So anyway, I'm on the Washington Department of Transportation, and they have maps. I'm wondering if I can find street maps. Where's the search button on this? I don't know. Let's see. Let's search. Let's search a county. Oh, here we go. Clallam County, search. Let me see what comes up. Okay, giving me road work. That's not helping. Well, it could, but it doesn't help. Street maps. Let's see. Street maps. Complete streets. Ooh. Complete streets. Complete streets. Hold on. It's got to be digging a little bit. Oh, they're going to make it difficult. This is not going to be like click here.
Right. And all you're looking for is a map. How sad is that?
Seriously.
I mean, come
Okay,
on.
so you know what? I am not going to do this live, but I will probably spend a little time thinking to myself, somebody could not have laid this out a little bit better. It's like the AVMA website. Trying to find some information there too. It's got to be the same web designer. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, the important information, they don't necessarily want to make that easy.
Oh, apparently not. Okay.
But you know what, though? It's good to know. It is good to know because think about it. If you're in a pinch and you're in the moment, if you can't find it easily when it's a calm moment, can you imagine if this was an emergency and you're trying to figure out where you need to go?
Oh, well, yeah, and that get in the car and just like I know 101 could possibly be a problem. Okay.
Right.
So I live sort of like on the at a point where it's really hard to like not use 101.
Mhm.
All right. I can go up the mountain and get to higher elevation in case of a tsunami, but that might be a dead end for me. All right, because in any other road, it's going to go back down to 101, no matter which direction I go. So I might be able to get around the problem, but there is still at some point I'm still going to have to hit that road. That could be a problem.
Now the other question is though too. So let's say you do get out and you're on the road. Do you have a plan as far as where you're going to go?
And taking your animals. And I just really want to reiterate this. If you're leaving, take your pets with you. You may not be able to get back in to get them if you don't.
Right.
Okay. This is especially important if you have a pet with a chronic medical condition. I have a dog that's on insulin.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that brings up another real quick. If I lose power here, I have insulin I have to keep cool.
Mm-hmm.
What is my plan to keep that insulin cool if I don't have power? Or there's no power in the foreseeable future. I mean, I have a generator, but how long would that last if infrastructure is damaged here?
Right. And are you going to be able to get gas?
Am I going to be able to get gas for it? Okay.
Yeah.
And if I don't have enough of a supply, will I be able to get the insulin for him?
Right.
Okay.
Now, how does, it's been a while and since I worked at the vet office, but do they put a limit as far as how many bottles that you can have?
Well, it's not even the limit. It's an unopened bottle will last a year and no more. Okay. I always make sure I have a 6-week supply of insulin at all times. 6-week supply of needles, 6-week supply of insulin.
Mm-hmm.
My thought process is if this area, if I need insulin for more, I should be leaving the area. If I don't have power here for 6 weeks, I need to be someplace else.
If there's someplace else to go. See, I always got to think of the worst.
So, but how do I keep that insulin cold if I don't have power for the refrigerator?
Right.
I can only get so many cold packs. I mean, what's kind of nice about this particular area is that we'll have like a week, 2 weeks around August that gets really hot. Most of the time, it's fairly even temperature. Will my garage keep it cold enough? I should throw a thermometer up there and just see how cold they maintain the. But I have a crawl space underneath the house.
That would probably be a best bet.
Would be a better place. I need to throw a some sort of sensor down there to see what the temperature is being maintained down there. And I hate, and you know what? I hate the crawl space. I hate it with a passion. You'll never ever get me down into that crawl space for any reason.
A lot of
Okay?
bugs.
What's that?
A lot of bugs.
No, it's underneath the house. It's creepy.
Yeah.
I've seen way too many horror movies, and so um, I'm not going into a crawl space. It's the end of discussion. Okay, but I will most certainly throw my husband down there. Hey, check the temperature for me. I'm going to play up here. So that might be an option because that's something I've been thinking about. What happens if I don't have power and I have a dog on a refrigerated medication? And
Right.
not just, I mean, I mean, insulin is one, but there are other medications that are, that need to be refrigerated. And if that's your case, you know, that's something that needs to be part of your plan.
Right. It's all those little things really that you just don't think about because it's a part of your day to day
Yeah.
that you think of a lot of the bigger stuff, but you don't necessarily think of the smaller stuff.
And she agrees with me. Never go into the crawl space. And here's the thing, Angie, right? We know that we have to get somebody down there to like do like a better seal than what we have in there. So we will hire somebody and I will pop my head in, meaning I will lay on the floor in the closet where the thingies, put my head down and say, yeah, that looks really good. Good job. I'm not going down there to inspect.
She says the boogeyman lives in the crawl space. I thought he was under the bed.
Yeah. No. You're in the crawl space. You're definitely in the crawl space. And I don't get it. Some people like have absolutely no fear about that whatsoever. But yeah, me and Angie, we're on the same page. We're gonna pay. I don't whatever it is you want. How much will it cost me? Oh, that sounds perfectly reasonable. As long as I don't have to go down to the crawl space.
That's too funny.
Yeah. So, okay. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up for today?
I don't think so. I think that covers a lot for our first episode.
I think so too. So, you could find Kate and me at various places, correct?
Correct.
So, I do want to give a shout out to Barclay because they are going to have me do the emergency disaster planning workshop at both Pasadena and Tacoma. So, thank you for that. Tina for the Colorado Rocky Mountain Show and the Rocky Mountain, Arizona. We're doing the classes there. I believe Kate is doing the class in Arizona, and I'm doing the class in Colorado. So find us if you want help putting together an emergency disaster plan. Please contact one of us, and we're going to play our one and only commercial. Yes,
Yay.
we have it. It's our commercial, so you ready?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Are you tired of putting off your emergency and disaster planning manual? Look no further. This 67-page fillable template will make the process a breeze. Simply fill in the blanks for your business and gain access to checklists for supplies, common hazards, debriefing, evacuation and sheltering-in-place protocols, resources, recovery, maintenance, as well as best intake practices. It's time to take action and be prepared. Get your copy today at positiveed.com/books.
Okay, ta-da!
Nicely done.
Yes, that was Chris
like
Angie who did our commercial.
Yeah.
And Angie is here. A little shout out to our opening video. She did a great job. Thank you, Angie. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
If anyone has a specific topic that they would like to discuss, okay, wherever you're watching this, put it in the comments. Okay, we're going to try to be here weekly Mondays, but we're not going to say every Monday. We're guessing it's probably going to be maybe 3 Mondays a month that will be here. So we'll be consistent. If you have questions, if you have something that you want us to discuss, we will more than willing want to do that for you. So, all right. Any parting words, Kate?
I hope that this is something that everyone starts to become a little bit more interested in, because I would love to see more and more of you be prepared.
Okay. Well, actually, our parting, so contacting us, right? I'm easily found on Facebook. Find me on Facebook, send me a message. All right. Kate, what's your website if people want to get a hold of you?
Probably the easiest is going to be www.help.com.
Okay, very cool. So we will see everybody next week.
Yeah, I think so.